All those in favor? All those in favor? Can I get you to raise your hands? Perfect, thank you. All right, the next item is the adoption of the minutes from the AGM in 2023 for the 22-23 year. And those minutes were sent out to everyone. Again, can I get a mover and a seconder for those minutes as presented? I see Lauren and Kale. Any comments, questions, concerns with those minutes before we call for the vote? Seeing nobody with a hand raised or otherwise. Anybody objecting? Okay, we'll call that as approved then. Thank you. Apparently Karen is having trouble with her camera, so I can't watch for her hand, but maybe you could put the chat in for you raising your hand if you need to ask a question, Karen. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to the bylaw updates and resolution. I'll turn that over to Kale.
Good morning, everyone. Two items I'm bringing forth today are the updates to our bylaw and a special resolution of the members. For anyone new or not been involved thus far, in summary, there have been some changes to the Ontario Not-for-Profit Act, which were effective October 2023. Once the board reviewed and solicited legal advice on these changes, amendments were made and brought forth for review and approval by the board. In a simple summary of any of these updates were sort of legalese and acknowledgements of accommodations for sort of widely accepted accommodations for remote meetings. There was definitions added around minimum, maximum amount of members. So that was changed and reviewed by the board. So I'm bringing those forth today to be adopted at the AGM. So first is General Operating Bylaw number 1. These were provided in advance of the meeting, and it's understood that everyone has read them. And on May 14th, 2024, the Board of Directors reviewed and approved the updated bylaws, and these are being brought forth to the membership at today's AGM for approval. If there are any, I would like to open the floor to any questions or discussions about this before I make a motion on General Operating Bylaw number 1. Seeing no hands or discussion. So first, a motion to pass General Operating Bylaw number 1, a bylaw relating to the transaction of affairs of Region 9 Regional Tourism Organization as governed by the Not-for-Profit Corporations Act 2010. I have a first.
I see Lauren.
And second.
Karen's raised her hand as a seconder.
Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposition? Okay, motion is carried. The second item is the special resolution of the members of RTO 9. The board initiated this process to be compliant with ONCA, the Ontario Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. The resolution was reviewed and approved by the Board of Directors on May 14th, 2024, and is now coming to the membership. Everyone should have had the opportunity to review. However, I'd like to open the floor to any questions or discussions. There are no questions or discussions I'm seeing here. I'd like to motion to pass special resolution of the members of RTO 9. Could I get a first? Eleanor, and sorry, I didn't see the second.
Was Kevin.
Kevin, thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is the financial audit for 23-24. And we have our auditor online to present that for us. Tanya Craig, could I get you to present this to us?
Yes, thank you, Sherry. Thank you for including me in your AGM today. I'm going to read you the opinion paragraph of our auditor's report that will be issued today. It reads, we've audited the financials of RTO 9, which comprise the statement of financial position at March 31st, 2024, and the statement of operations, changes in net assets, and cash flows for the year then ended. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the organization at March 31st, 2024, and the results of its operations and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian accounting standards for not-for-profits. After the meeting today, the financial statements will be approved by the board, therefore the auditor's report will be dated today. I'm not going to go through the entire financial statement with you, but I will focus on the schedules of revenues and expenses. So the first schedule is the schedule of revenue and expenses for regular operations. These are the funds that come from the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Sport, which is the main funder of RTO 9. This year, the operating budget was $1.5 million, and that is an increase of $164,000 from last year. And then there are also some partnership contributions collected from other organizations and businesses to work on some partnerships together. And then the expenses are categorized in keeping with the budget of the funder, which is the Ministry of Tourism. The main categories are governance and administration, product development, marketing, workforce development, investment attraction, and partnerships. Bonnie and her team did a good job this year with their budgeting, and they have spent all of the funding other than $49 at the year, which will become repayable to the ministry. And then on the second schedule, we have another schedule for revenues and expenses with other initiatives. So from year to year, RTO 9 will receive other grants from different funders for various reasons, and these change, and the amounts vary also. For the year 2024, they received some funds from Destination in Ontario, which was to develop a workforce project. The funds received for this were $163,500, and were mostly all spent. As you can see, the expenses for that project were $163,493. That project ended March 31st, 2024. The next funding came from the Federal Economic Development Agency of Southern Ontario. This is a marketing research project named Tourism Growth Program. It will run until December 2025. But as of now, funds of $150 have been received, and they have also been spent. And that's all.
Okay, thank you, Tanya. I know that people were having a little bit of difficulty hearing you, so I'm going to leave it open a little questions. Can I ask if anybody has questions for Tanya? You do all have copy of the draft, and she did mention that once we have approved it, then they will be marked not draft so that they can be forwarded on to the ministry. Any other questions? Meg has a question.
So my question is regarding our assets, which I don't think you went through.
Yep. Wait, would you like me to give an overview of those? Absolutely,
please.
Okay. So at March 31st, the organization has $417,000 of cash in the bank. There are accounts receivable of $115,000. But most of this is HST rebates and funds that are collectible from other RTOs for the Tourism Growth Program. Accounts payable and accrued liabilities are $280,000. These are just trade payables, accrued wages. I think that's about it. That, and then deferred contributions. There was $53,000 collected from other RTOs for the tourism growth program, which has not been spent yet. So we're deferring that and we'll recognize it as revenue in the future. And then there's small liability. There's a $49 repayable to the Ministry of Tourism. And the net assets of the organization are currently $199,000.
Okay, thank you. And can you tell me how much of that is in a reserve for the organization?
Yes. In the reserve, there's $116,000. This was calculated a few years ago by the board, just to set aside in case RTOs would cease to exist and they would need funds to pay severance pays and things like that. So they have set that aside. And then 82,000 is unrestricted.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions before I call for the motion? Okay, I'm not seeing anybody else with questions. Can I call for a mover and a seconder, please? Brett? And Kevin? Thank you very much. And obviously we've covered the questions, so if I could call for the motion then for approval. Hands up, everybody that's okay with that. Looks like we're unanimous in that. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on to the next item, which is our year in review. And I'm going to turn that over to Bonnie and the other staff to give us an overview. Thanks very much, Bonnie.
Good morning. Thank you, Sherry. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. For those that maybe are not as familiar with our organization, I'm just going to give you a quick little overview. We are one of 11 RTO organizations in the province of Ontario. Our mandate is to provide tourism services to operators and to destinations and to increase tourism receipts within southeastern Ontario. We have two facing identities. So we work under both our industry identity, which is RTO 9, and our consumer facing identity, which is Southeastern Ontario. Our core funder, as Tanya mentioned, is the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Sport. And we operate under guidelines that they provide to us each year, which include 5 pillars. And under the pillars, we fulfill key activities. So my team and I are going to go through just a quick, very high level overview of the key activities under the pillars that we completed in 23-24. Next slide, Meg. Okay, so the first one being product development. So under Regional Film Initiative, we continue to work with the Tourism Kingston Film Office to promote Southeastern Ontario as a destination of choice for filmmakers. Despite the ongoing actors and writer strikes in the last fiscal year, we actually saw 23 productions across the region, which was great, and they had an economic impact of over $1 million. The film office continued to gather assets for us, mainly in our newest destination that we have, which is the County of Prescott-Russell. And what we did with those assets was they were loaded into Real Scout, which is a platform program that the RTO hosts. And what we do is it hosts all the information about each of the destinations for filmmakers that are looking to scout the area to do some filming. Indigenous tourism, we work with Indigenous Tourism Ontario via an MOU on various initiatives, including workshops for both Indigenous and non-Indigenous operators. We have one-on-one meetings with the Indigenous Business Advisor, and we promote Indigenous businesses within the region. Under the 2S LGBTQI+ initiatives, we undertook and completed a destination audit assessment to determine the market readiness of the region. This was the first audit to be completed for an RTO across the province. 3 of our destinations also have had audits completed, and we continue to work through the action plan that was provided after the audit. Sustainable tourism. We completed the Green Step audit and received our bronze certification, and now we're working through the action plan. And one of the recommendations was to host a sustainable tourism summit, which we're doing in September. So go to rto9.ca and you can sign up for our summit in September. And under research, we engaged the services of 2031 to complete a quantitative consumer survey, a macroeconomic tourism assessment of Southeastern Ontario. And both of these reports can be found online on rto9.ca. Go to the next slide, Meg. Under investment attraction, we provide information that FedDev has for granting opportunities on our website. And then in partnership with 7 other RTOs, we were successful in receiving a $250,000 grant from FedDev to do a collaborative 2-year research project. So the project started in 2023 and it will continue on, or 2024, sorry, and it will continue on till December of 2025. Ontario East Economic Development Corporation. We served on the board of directors for that organization last year. And they attended, a variety of trade shows to promote investment in Southeastern Ontario. And myself, along with RTO 8 and RTO 11, presented at their conference last year. And CBRE, we contract the services of CBRE to collect monthly accommodation data for the region. And we also receive national reports. And all these reports can again be found on our website. We continue to work with Great Lakes Cruising Association under the executive director, Stephen Burnett. He works very hard for us to find more opportunities to bring more cruise ships to the Great Lakes region. And we also assisted Stephen in putting together a shop local en route, which is on the Great Lakes Cruising website page. So it gives the ships an opportunity to buy local product as they're traveling throughout the region. Next slide, Meg. Workforce development. RTO 9 worked under partnership with RTO 7 and RTO 13 on a tourism skills network project. This was done in collaboration with the Ontario Tourism Education Corporation and our local service providers, such as the Employment and Education Centre and the Kingston Employment Youth Services. We trained 91 individuals across the region. Some were new employees into tourism, and some were existing employees that just needed some assistance with upgrading. The Canadian Gay Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, we worked with them to offer workshops to encourage businesses to become Rainbow registered. We now have 42 Rainbow registered businesses in Southeastern Ontario, and we encourage you to reach out to them to become registered as well. And now over to Meg for our workshops.
Thank you, Bonnie. So throughout the year, RTO 9 hosted a number of in-person and web-based workshops for our industry partners throughout the region. Topics included things such as digital marketing assistance, experiential tourism development and grant writing, as well as information sessions on programs that partners can use to leverage their business in the provincial and national level. A reminder to everybody who's here today that you can check out our website, rto9.ca, for all of the upcoming sessions provided by RTO 9, as well as some free to attend sessions from other industry partners. And now I'm going to pass the invisible mic over to Steve to cover our marketing initiatives through the year.
Thanks, Meg. RTO 9 has built a strong working relationship with its 11 destinations in Southeastern Ontario. Through targeted regional marketing initiatives and continued collaborative effort, RTO 9 continues to promote each destination and encourage multiple destination travel. RTO 9's main objective for marketing for last year was to maintain and increase awareness of Southeastern Ontario and RTO 9 as a travel destination and increase conversion in target markets through several initiatives. This is one. Destination Ontario and RTO 9 partnered on a spring-summer theme spotlight campaign, the 2023 Cruise Spotlight. This co-marketing system leveraged aligned partner planning content and inspired travel and direct-to-operator tactics to connect the consumer with viable experiences in our region. This was accomplished via a $50,000 media buy funded through $25,000 from RTO and $25,000 from Destination Ontario. The in-market dates May 1st through June 4th, and our targeted ads directed Ontario consumers with an affinity for outdoor adventures to our theme-aligned stories, as well as directly linked to our featured operators' websites. Overall performance impressions were over 7.5 million, and leads to partners were over 101,000. Next slide, please, Meg. Destination Ontario and RTO9 partnered on a US campaign as well. The co-marketing system built upon strong pan-Ontario brand messaging while profiling specific destination partners to inspire travel to our region. The direct-to-partner component of the campaign was centered around $100,000 media buy, funded $50,000 by DO and $50,000 by the RTO. May 15th to July 9th, we were in market and impressions reached almost 19 million with leads to partners 330,000. Next slide, please. Throughout the year, RTO9 invited media and hosted press trips to enrich media relationships, increased awareness of our destinations and operations within Southeastern Ontario, and produced engaging editorial coverage. Next slide, please. RTO9 was able to host several FAM tours throughout RTO9 during 23-24, as well as partner with various destinations to bring in additional media. We worked with Tartan Bond and Destination Ontario to bring in traditional media and social media influencers. This provided the opportunity to pitch our stories to the media, garnering unpaid promotion to targeted markets. Tartan Bond helped to vet and liaison with the media that we brought through our region. We hosted 9 trips to the region. Next slide, please, Meg. The Culinary Tourism Alliance visited businesses in Southeastern Ontario between May 29th and June 1st last year and gathered photographs, videos, and information. The focus was on rural exploration in the westernmost counties, including diverse restaurants, beer, wine, and cider, as well as unique accommodations and experiences. Stops focused on farm-to-table rural experiences in small towns. The content was curated to complement ongoing campaigns. 4 articles were written and posted on ontarioculinary.com, as well as posted on social media and boosted to promote traffic to the content. Next slide. Attractions Ontario has had a long working history with Southeastern Ontario and advertising its regional membership over the years. This past year, Attractions Ontario put together a partnership proposal that not only showcased all of the RTO and the benefits its partners had, but educated the consumer. The partnership with Attractions Ontario included a 1-page spread in the Passport magazine, a regional editorial space, a regional cover, and social media sharing on Attractions Ontario platforms. Next slide, please. RTO9 partnered with Ontario by Bike to promote our region as a top cycling destination in Ontario. Ontario by Bike represents Southeastern Ontario at travel trade shows and hands out material on our behalf. Updates were made to the Ontario by Bike website, including all cycle route PDFs. New routes and updates to the Southeastern Ontario cycling itineraries were developed in French and English and live on our consumer site. Now I'd like to pass over the mic to Leslie to talk about websites, contests, and our ambassador program.
Thank you, Steve. Good morning, everybody. RTO9 assisted destination partners in marketing efforts, recognizing each destination's needs varied. We work towards creating awareness of Southeastern Ontario as a desirable travel destination by showcasing its unique experiences across all destinations and seasons. This encouraged year-round travel to support the industry's recovery. Our focus has been on continuing to foster community and the pride of residents by providing engaging content that resonates with our target audiences. This resulted in increased link clicks, likes, reactions, comments, followers, and page views. To drive qualified traffic to destination and operator websites and social media pages, we utilized a mix of owned and paid media strategies. This helped to generate interest and encourage visitors to explore the region further. Our target audiences were connected explorers, mellow vacationers, family memory builders, and knowledge seekers. By understanding their needs and preferences, we tailored marketing efforts to effectively reach and engage these specific groups. The users to our website were 596,000, and new users 592,000. I do want to point out here that due to the switch to Google Analytics 4, the new users versus existing metrics were skewed. Next slide, please, Meg. The second is our industry brand, RTO9. Our primary audience of industry partners and operators has a direct impact on the tourism industry within Southeastern Ontario. We recognize the importance of engaging other key partners who enable and contribute to the regional tourism industry. We can consistently apply key messages across our channels to help our audiences understand who we are, our value as a trustworthy source, and our inclusion in the Ontario tourism industry. Our goals will continue to be to enhance awareness of RTO9, its programs, services, and resources, to position RTO9 as a leading authority in regional tourism in Ontario, and to encourage newsletter subscriptions, registration, and active participation in webinars, workshops, partnership programs, and events such as this AGM. At a glance, the users to our website are 33,000, new users 32,000. Next slide, please, Meg. Blogs and itineraries were curated based on seasonal activities and themes. These were a mix of storytelling and listicle style blogs. On the consumer website, we published 55 blogs and 15 itineraries. This also included a Christmas campaign for themed shopping routes, which we will expand on for future years, and an ongoing SIPS campaign to support local wineries and breweries throughout the region. Next slide, please, Meg. This fiscal year also marked a new approach to contesting and content sourcing. Contests are run quarterly, rotating destinations, and include input from the destination managers. They are packaged and themed and support several businesses within one contest. In addition to enhancing engagement and followers, the contests offer a strategic opportunity for us to expand our mailing list and those of the DMOs. Contests this year supported SDG counties, Cornwall, and Brockville. In January, we piloted the Digital Ambassador Program, onboarding 4 freelancers who live throughout the region to capture short-form videos and images for reels and photography for blogs. The content is scheduled and curated around the RTO9 content pillars, rotating through the 11 destinations we support. This project allowed us to increase our assets and content capacity on Facebook and Instagram with authentic content direct from the source, and it is now a best practice of operations. We'd also like to thank Alphabet, for our agency of record, for all their contributions to assist our marketing campaigns. Thank you very much. And back over to Meg. Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie. So I'm now covering partnership funds. So a popular program we run every year. This past fiscal, we saw 23 projects receive funding through the partnership fund program, and we conducted that through 3 different funding categories, which were new events, development of Indigenous tourism product, and the development of guided experiences or trails. And I'm just going to highlight 2 of the great projects that we were able to fund this year. The first of which is Follow 44. This project was completed with Wildling Acres in Kemptville and done in partnership with the municipality of North Grenville, and saw the creation of a self-guided tourism trail spanning from the Rideau River Provincial Park through North Grenville to Spencerville to highlight all of the local businesses and attractions located on County Road 44. The trail can be traversed by car or bicycle, with the goal of visitors to experience as many local businesses as possible, to generate interest in extended stays in the area, and to participate in all of the great activities along the route. From enjoying fresh scones and hiking through a wooded trail, to walking with alpacas and chatting with local artists, the participating businesses in the trail can be discovered, and visitors can plan their trip on the website created during the project period follow484.ca. And the second project was completed by TTO, the Language and Cultural Center for the Mohawks of the Bay Quinte First Nation, Tyendinaga Mohawk Territory, and in partnership with the County Museums and the Gord Downey and Cheney Wenjack Fund, aim to create a virtual and in-person experience. Titled A Path Forward, this permanent and evolving exhibit featuring Indigenous artists is a partnership that explores the efforts in the county toward truth and reconciliation, as well as providing a safe space for reflection, education, and guidance from our Indigenous community through history, art, and storytelling. A Path Forward can be experienced at the Macaulay Heritage Park in Prince Edward County, located on the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Huron-Wendat peoples. I'm now going to pass things back to our lovely board chair, Sherry Kemp-Long, to cover the next few items.
Thanks, Meg. Thanks all staff. So we added in something this year for recognition of our long-serving members, both staff and board. So one of our first ones is Steve Weir, who has been with us for 7 years. Thank you very much, Steve, for your service. A second one, which we have had for a very long time. Thank you very much, Bonnie. Bonnie Rudick has been with us for 13 years, which maybe backs up on our consistency in operations. Thank you very much, Bonnie. Now, there's one other that has not been made up a card for, which is Meg, and Meg has been with us for 6 years. So we'll be getting a certificate made for Meg. Meg will make up her own, whichever. But 6 years, again, is a long time of service. So thank you very much for your work. The other item we have is for board members. So we have a 23-24 board, which is our outgoing board. So myself, Kale, Kevin, Megan, Rob, Krista, Karina, Brett, Karen, Michelle, Eleanor, Liam, and Lauren. This is our existing board. And then we have, of course, our helpers, with our advisors from the ministry with Mia, Lewis, and Katie. All very helpful to keep us on our going forward. And from those, we have a couple of outgoing members as well. So we have Rob, who has been with us for 6 years and will be moving off of the board. Brett, who's been with us for 3 and is also moving off the board. And Kevin, who's been with us for 6 years and acted as our treasurer for some of that period. Again, thank you very much for all of your service on our board. The next item is to move forward onto our 24-25 board. So we have some new people that will be joining our board because of our outgoing members. So the 3 people that we have coming in, Jacob Murray, president business owner of Topsy Farms. Jacob brings to the RTO 9 board a background in tourism, communications, economic development, and public relations marketing. Jacob's work on building his brand of Connect to the Land has won him several awards and multimedia attention. Another one coming new to our board, Heather Robertson, front office manager at the Residence Inn by Marriott in Kingston. Throughout her career, Heather has developed skills in executive management, strategic planning, tourism, communications, economic development, public relations, and hospitality. Heather has served on a number of boards with the region, and we welcome her expertise to the RTO 9 board. The third new member is Scott Lambert, winemaker and business owner, Van Cleek Hill Vineyard. Scott has a number of skills that he brings to the RTO board: executive management, research, strategic planning, tourism, accounting, finance, economic development, and hospitality. Scott is a true entrepreneur and has spent his career owning and operating different companies and is now running a vineyard in the county of Prescott-Russell. So this is now our 24-25 board list. So myself, Kale, Krista, Karina, Jacob, Heather, Karen, Michelle, Eleanor, Liam, Lauren, and Scott. So this group will be your going forward board. Obviously with the help of our advisors again from the ministry. And the board will then, after the close of this meeting, will stay on to elect your executive within that board. And we will move forward then into our upcoming year. So I'll open the floor for any questions and comments before we call for an adjournment. Kevin.
Yeah, hi Sherry. Not a question, just a comment. I just wanted to thank the board since my time's up here. Thank the board for being an awesome group to work with, and thank Bonnie and her team from RTO. It's been a pleasure being on the board. I've learned a lot. It's been personally rewarding, and have full confidence in the board that's going to move ahead with the organization. I think the organization's in great shape, and look forward to continuing to work with all of you to build tourism in Eastern Ontario. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Do I see your hand up, Rob?
Yep. Same as what Kevin said. Thanks, everyone.
All right. And I see Karen's hand.
I'm just curious, we don't have any of the new members on the call today, do we?
Bonnie, I can't see everybody.
I see Heather and Jacob are here. I'm not sure about Scott though.
Okay, I can't see them on my screen, so okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, Scott is here too, he says.
Awesome.
All right, so I'm not seeing any other hands up. Meg or Bonnie, if you see anybody that I'm missing. If not, I will call for an adjournment to this AGM session. And I see Rob with his hand up. Thank you very much. So thank you all. We'll just ask the board to stay on to go through the executive election portion, and thank you everyone else who participated. So Meg, maybe you can let us know when everyone